Literary Arts Center of Isabela. English Academy.
An analogy describes the relationship between words. Subject, verb, or teacher.
One hand. English Academy.
Hello children! Welcome to English Academy on Air. How are you today? Wow! That's good to hear. Let us start the day with a sweet smile on our face to spread love and positivity. Be glad that God gave you another day to live, to love and to learn. By the way, I am your radio teacher, Christine L. Gonzalez, reminding all of you to always pray and thank God for all the blessings that you are receiving. Always do your best, and God will do the rest. Are you ready to enjoy while learning English? Let me hear you say, I am ready! Wow, you are indeed ready. At this moment, I want you to get your English learning activity sheet for our lesson, which is recognizing evaluative word choices to detect bias and propaganda used by speakers. Are you ready? Shall we proceed? Give me a resounding yes.
Yes.
Okay, I heard you loud and clear. Let's go. Before we proceed, can you still remember our past lesson?
Aye, Captain!
Great! Last time, we learned about identifying language features of various types of information or factual text. Kids, there are different language features of different informational or factual texts. It is very important that we know this language feature to better understand the text that we are reading, right?
Yeah.
So always keep in mind those language features that we learned last time. Kids, have you experienced speaking in front of many people?
What?
How did you feel? Yes, most of the time we feel nervous and anxious whenever we speak in public.
Aww.
But that's okay, as long as you were able to convey the message that you want to convey. That's the most important thing that we should always bear in mind as a speaker.
Okay!
Kids, do you know that there are evaluative words that are often used by a speaker to convey emotions or feelings he wanted his listeners or readers to feel? We will learn that today. It's exciting, isn't it? So kids, fasten your seatbelts as we explore the evaluative words that are often used by a speaker to convey emotions or feelings he wanted his listeners or readers to feel. Only here in Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela. Now get your notebook, pen, and learning activity sheet and be prepared as we begin. Is that clear?
Aye, Captain!
All right. Children, are you holding your learning activity sheet? Very good. Now turn your activity sheet on page 22. Speaker often used evaluative words like manipulated, harassed, righted, blamed, intimidated, wanted, abused, and many more. You can see more lists of evaluative words in your activity sheet. These words convey emotions or feelings from the listeners. For example, the word harassed. When a speaker uses this word, it would elicit an emotion of fear or pity. We can use these evaluative words to make our message more influential and convincing to our listeners.
Yeah.
Kids, When we speak about something, we always need to be fair and avoid bias because it can be a source of misunderstanding.
Okay.
Bias is the action of supporting or opposing a particular person or thing in an unfair way because of allowing personal opinions to influence your judgment. Remember to always be fair in your judgments.
Okay.
Kids, there are different types of bias. These are bias by omission, bias by selection of sources, bias by story selection, bias by placement, and bias by labeling. What are the types of biases again? Very good! Bias by omission, bias by selection of sources, bias by story selection, bias by placement, and bias by labeling. Do you want to learn more about these types? Are you ready?
Aye, Captain!
All right! Bias by omission is leaving one side out of an article or a series of articles over a period of time. In this type of bias, people tend to just know one side of the story without knowing the other side. This becomes unfair because you don't get to know the whole story. Did you get the first type? Good! What about bias by selection of sources? It means including more sources that support one view over another. Yes, when selecting sources, we should always get sources that supports both views to avoid bias. Is it clear?
Aye, Captain!
Next type is bias by story selection. It is a pattern of highlighting news stories that coincide with the agenda of either the left or right, while ignoring stories that coincide with the opposing view. If you do this, it is obvious that you are supporting the other view while opposing the other by highlighting news stories that could be taken against the other.
Yeah.
How about bias by placement? Correct! It is a measure of how important the editor coincides the story. As an editor, one should be fair, knowing the whole picture and without supporting the other party.
Okay!
Next type is bias by labeling. This occurs when a reporter not only fails to identify a liberal as a liberal or a conservative as a conservative, but describes a person with positive labels.
Yeah.
Labeling someone may sound unfair to the listeners. Lastly, bias by spin. It occurs when the story has only one interpretation of an event or policy, to the exclusion of the other. Kids, always remember, you must avoid bias and practice fairness all the time.
Okay!
In speaking, we all need to learn about propaganda. What is propaganda, kids? That's right! Propaganda is a type of message aimed at influencing the opinions or behavior of people. Kids, this is often used during election. To influence the decision of the people during election, some politicians develop propaganda.
Yeah.
How can we differentiate propaganda from bias? Propaganda is providing information which are deliberately misleading, while bias is the action of supporting or opposing a particular person or thing in an unfair way, because of allowing a personal opinion to influence your judgment.
Okay.
Kids, there are also devices of propaganda that you need to learn. These are name-calling, testimonial, card stalking, bandwagon, plain folks, transfer, glitter generalities, and stereotyping.
Wow.
Name-calling connects a person, product, or idea to something negative.
Wow.
For example, if a politician is a corrupt, they often connect him to crocodile because crocodile symbolizes greed.
Wow.
Testimonial is also a device wherein a well-known person endorses the product or service. We often see this in TV commercials.
Wow.
We also have card stocking. This propaganda device focuses on the best features and leaves out or lies about problems. This device only shows the positive sides of someone or something and not exposing the negative sides.
Wow.
Next, bandwagon. Bandwagon is also a device asking people to join crowd and take action because everyone is doing it. Example, in a circle of friends where everyone is cheating, a person tends to be influenced by his friends and learns to cheat because everyone is doing it. But kids, remember, cheating is bad.
Aye, aye, Captain!
You have to be honest all the times, right?
Yeah.
Next device is plain folk. It uses regular people to sell a product or a service. For example, in a commercial, they use regular people like farmers to sell their agricultural product. Next is transfer. It relates a product to someone or something we like. For example, they relate germicidal soap to germs and viruses to convince everyone that we need to use germicidal soap to avoid germs and viruses which cause diseases.
Wow.
We also have glittering generalities. This device uses words or ideas that evoke an emotional response. Taglines of different products are examples. They use taglines to evoke an emotional response from the viewers.
Wow.
The last device is stereotyping. It is giving a person or an idea a bad label by using an easy-to-remember negative name. Did you get all the propaganda devices, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Very good! Now that you learned about the various types of bias and the devices of propaganda, let's try to apply these learnings through activities. On page 23 of your activity sheet, read and understand the following situations or definitions that reflect bias and propaganda. Choose the letter of the correct answer and write it on your paper.
Okay!
Are you ready? Number 1. A story reflecting one side to the exclusion of the other. A. Bias by spin. B. Bias through omission. C. Bias by labeling. D. Bias through placement. What is the answer? Correct! Letter B. Bias by spin. Number 2. A reporter uses such phrases as experts believe or most people believe. A. Bias by spin. B. Bias through placement. C. Bias by selection of sources. D. Bias through omission. What is your answer? Very good! Letter C. Bias by selection of sources. Number 3. Ignoring or excluding particular news details to give viewers a different opinion about the events. What type of bias is this? A. Bias by selection of sources. B. Bias by spin. C. Bias through omission. D. Bias through placement. Amazing! Letter C. Bias through omission. Number 4. The latest buzz is all about Zumba. Don't be the last one to do it. A. Bandwagon. B. Name calling. C. Glittering generalities. D. Plain folks. What propaganda device is this? Correct! Letter A. Bandwagon. Number 5. Get all your stains away by using the new and improved Linis detergent liquid and wash your blues away. A. Plain folks. B. Bandwagon. C. Name calling. D. Glittering generalities. The answer is impressive! Letter D. Glittering generalities. You're on the right track, kids. Keep it up! For you to clearly understand our lesson, we have one more activity. On page 25 of your activity sheet, determine the type of biases used in the sentence. You can choose from the boxes. Are you ready? Give me a resounding yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Number 1. The editor of an online article didn't ask any opinion but manipulated the news by relying on his own belief. What type is it? Very good. Bias by placement. Number 2. The news anchor conducted a live interview with the victim and blamed the accused without asking his side. What is your answer? Correct! Bias by selection of story. Number 3. People ignored other brands of phones because according to the commercial, this brand of phone has the best camera and no one is complaining about it. It suits the best selfie. The answer is correct! Bias by selection of sources. Can you still follow?
Aye, Captain!
Okay, let's continue. Number 4. A lot of people patronized and bought this product based on the commercial released because most people believe it is good. According to an interview, it said that this is the most affordable and delicious cupcake anyone had ever tasted. What is your answer? Very good! Bias by spin is the answer. Number 5. A newspaper headlined the highest GDP rate of the country ever recorded while a TV news outlet ignored it. Instead, they used the significant drop of the president's performance rating for the quarter as their headline. What bias type is this? That's right! Bias by omission. Wow! You are all doing great, kids! Give yourselves 5 resounding claps! Kids, always remember that in speaking, we must always be honest and fair to avoid misunderstanding. Am I right?
Yeah.
Good! What is bias again, kids? Impressive! Bias is the action of supporting or opposing a particular person or thing in an unfair way, because of allowing personal opinions to influence your judgment. How about propaganda? Propaganda is a type of message aimed at influencing the opinions or behavior of people. Instead of impartially providing information, it is often deliberately misleading, while bias is the action of supporting or opposing a particular person or thing in an unfair way, because of allowing a personal opinion to influence your judgment. Wow! You really learned a lot! This time, let's check how well you understood our lesson through a quiz. This time, children, I want you to get your quiz form from your kits. Fill out the information needed. Write your name, section, and the date today. Do not forget the lesson number that is all about the quiz. Did you understand? Give me a resounding yes.
Yes.
All right. Now we are ready for the quiz. It's time for you to be challenged. On page 25, activity 3 of your activity sheet. Kids, can you see a word search box?
Yes.
Nice! Find the propaganda being described in each situation by searching the word inside the box.
Okay!
The words can be diagonal, horizontal, vertical, or backwards. Are you ready?
Yes.
Number 1. Mang Juan's Bakery is hated for having birthday cakes that are 20% bigger and 50% chocolatier. What is your answer? Number 2. The most wanted player, Kobe Bryant, is on the billboard endorsing the best fast food in the entire world. Did you find the word? Number 3. Peter tricks buyers by saying, "Jolly hot dog is like the saddest hot dog." Number 4. Manang Bebang's top slogan used scavengers for its advertisement. Number 5. Being a victim of bullies, I know how it feels to be bullied. I will assure you of a peaceful classroom if you will vote for me as a president, declared Jose. Are you done? Very good! That ends our short quiz. Are you ready to know the correct answers? Okay, let's check your quiz now. Number 1. Mang Juan's Bakery is hated for having birthday cakes that are 20% bigger and 50% chocolatier. What is your answer? Very good! The answer is card stocking. Number 2. The most wanted player, Kobe Bryant, is on the billboard endorsing the best fast food in the entire world. Did you find the word? Yes, the word is testimonial. Number 3. Peter tricks buyers by saying Jolly hot dog is like the saddest hot dog. The answer is name calling. Number 4. Manang Bebang's top slogan used scavengers for its advertisement. The correct answer is plain folks. Number 5. Being a victim of bullies, I know how it feels to be bullied. I will assure you of a peaceful classroom if you will vote for me as president, declared Jose. The answer is glittering generalities. Very good, kids! Keep up the good work! That ends our quiz. Please continue answering the remaining activities in your activity sheets. If you have some questions or clarifications, do not hesitate to ask your teacher through text or call or send a message on the official Facebook page of Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela. Learning is fun, right? You did an amazing job! That ends our lesson for today. On behalf of the SDO Isabela RBI production team, this is your scriptwriter and your radio teacher, Christine Lejano Gonzalez, bidding you a sweet goodbye. Till our next lesson again, goodbye and have a good day!
Subject, verb, or teacher.
On air. English Academy.
Yes.